The main titles of Lost Highway are accompanied by an original song written and performed by David Bowie, entitled I'm Deranged. The titles are superimposed upon the continuous image of yellow median lines on a highway, another representation of fragmented identity, as we learn when these main titles dissolve into a shot of a man nervously puffing on a cigarette in the dark. This film's own double protagonist has been daydreaming about his own predicament, once again with popular song as the accompaniment. Like Mulholland Drive, Lost Highway opens with a pop song Fantasy Nightmare and concludes by mirroring its beginning, with the same Bowie song underscoring a shot of the highway at night, and continuing on for the final credits. The use of the song This Magic Moment in Lost Highway is particularly interesting. Let's look at this example in detail. Though surely familiar with both the Drifters version, which hit number 4 on the R&B charts and number 16 on the pop charts in 1960, and an even more successful 1969 recording of the song by Jay and the Americans, Lynch opted for a version of the song performed by Lou Reed in the mid-1900s. The change in style from sincere 1960s style pop to a rock-inspired style with droning guitars and Reed's quirky in-tone vocals perfectly captures the existential twist that lies at the center of Lynch's film. As is the case with most of Lynch's films, Lost Highway is concerned with alternate realities in which a character is given the opportunity to manage or deal psychologically with a particular trauma by experiencing it from another perspective. In Lost Highway, the man is a musician, saxophone player Fred Madison, who murders his wife Rennie, and after being sent to death row is able to inhabit the body of another man, the young mechanic Pete Dayton, and witnesses the conditions of his own life through the eyes of another in a parallel universe. The scene in which Pete sees for the first time the alternate reality version of his dead wife, now a platinum blonde named Alice Wakefield, is filmed in seductive slow motion, with Reed's version of This Magic Moment as the only sound element. Placed within this particular narrative structure, the song works on a number of levels. For one, there's the obvious and perhaps tongue-in-cheek point that this is indeed a magic moment. In this scene, the viewer realizes for the first time that both characters from the first half of the film, Fred and Rennie, are present in different bodies in the second half's alternate reality, as Pete and Alice. The connection is made more palpable by the scene's setup, in which Pete is working under a car with the radio on, tuned to a station playing none other than the manic jazz that Fred Madison had played live on stage in the film's first half. Pete cannot stand hearing the music, a painful reminder of his former existence, and abruptly changes the station. But the particular use of Lou Reed's recording of the song rather than one of the better known pop versions is also noteworthy. Of course, the classic 60s pop sound of the Drifters and Jay and the Americans would have not worked within the sound and music scheme of Lost Highway in general, which is characterized by an alternative rock sound and such recording artists as Marilyn Manson, Rammstein and Trent Reznor. But there's more to the switch. Substituting the well-known pop recordings of This Magic Moment with this quasi-minimalist performance by Lou Reed, Lynch is providing a musical symbol for the drastic changes in time and space that the characters undergo. On a deeper level, Lynch is providing a meta-commentary on our culture's reception of popular song in general. Just as Fred's predicament leads him, via his transformation into Pete, to a radical reprisal of his own troubled past, so too does the performance by Lou Reed invite the viewer to consider the history of this particular song, whose more familiar version spoke of a popular music culture on the verge of transformation, of a time in which the simple sincerity of pop singing was being challenged by the new imperatives of authenticity imposed by the burgeoning style of rock and roll, and in which the practice of equating recording with performing was threatened by new and for some disruptive technologies that radically transformed pop music's emotional terrain. As opposed to the composed scores of classical Hollywood films which stick to the sensibilities of the film and its world, and hence obscure any relationship between the viewer's own histories or identities and the positions presented in the film, the effect of a compilation score depends on historically and culturally specific ties between the film and its viewer. These songs bring external associations, apart from what is conveyed in the lyrics, musical style, among other things, which the filmmaker can tap into. Lynch suggests popular music is not mere nostalgic entertainment. These songs instead are held up as potential markers of a changing cultural psyche. Putting a perhaps appropriate reverse spin on the snippet of dialogue from Lost Highway, we might say that Lynch asks us to consider pop not as we remember it, but as it really happened, shunning the comforts of our own nostalgia in favor of a more expansive and ultimately discomforting view of these texts and the culture that produced them.